Hello and what is going on today, guys? Tomcat here, and welcome to a brand new episode of Stock vs. Tuned in Forza Horizon 4. Now, this episode is going to be the Italdesign ZeroUno against the Lamborghini Aventador LP750 SV. So, with that being said, the way this works, as I'm sure you guys know by now, but for those of you that haven't seen these videos before, the way this works is we are going to run both of these cars stock, and then we are going to modify the ZeroUno up to the PI of the Aventador SV, and see if the ZeroUno can beat the SV's trap speed. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and drive the ZeroUno and see what happens. So let's go ahead and back out of this house and we'll get this thing out on the road. Now, I'm very excited to drive this car because I haven't really spent much time in it, and it is actually a very good sounding car. Let me just go ahead and let you guys listen to it real quick. It's just crazy sounding. It's so aggressive. Like, the shifts are aggressive, the overrun is aggressive. It's just everything about the way this car sounds is just so over the top and so aggressive and so Italian, and I love every last bit of it. The only thing I'm not a massive fan of with the way this car drives is the amount of power that goes to the front wheels. It's a little excessive in my opinion, and so it's got this weird front end pull. You can still slide it, but you have to be very, very, very aggressive, and you almost have to use the e-brake no matter what. So I personally would rather it have more rear end bias in the all-wheel drive system, but if you were to tune it and modify it, you could obviously, you know, divert some of that power to the back end of the car. But again, that's my personal opinion about this car because it is stock. So now let's go ahead and see what kind of speed this thing puts down through the speed trap in stock form. So 3, 2, 1, go. There's 100 miles an hour, shifting into 5th gear, 120, 130, 140, and 150, shifting into 6th gear. Come on, 160, 170 miles an hour. Come on, boom, 180 flat. So, well, almost 180 flat, 180.7 miles an hour. So, will the Aventador SV be that much faster than 180 miles an hour? I'm not sure. Let's go find out. Back to the house. So, I've never really spent much time in the Aventador SV because the Aventador SV was always one of those cars to me that, like, it's a really cool car, but it was not a car that I always, like, had this massive desire to spend a bunch of time in, and wow, that fast traveled really quick. Normally, I'm not used to it fast traveling that quickly. But with all of that being said, I am very excited to drive it because, of course, it is still the big V12 Lambo. It still has that showmanship. It still has that, you know, like over-the-top craziness that we're used to with the big V12 Lamborghinis. So let's grab our LP750-4 SV and see what this thing will run in comparison to the 180 mile an hour trap speed of the ZeroUno, which, by the way, 180 miles an hour out of a stock car is very impressive. Very, very impressive. Let's see what this thing sounds like and then see how it drives. I love this dash. The Aventador SV dash is one of my favorite Lamborghini dashes in existence. Aside from that of the Reventon's dash is, like, just on a different level of crazy. The Reventon's dash is, like, out of a starfighter. This makes you think crazy race car, but then you look at it from the outside and you realize how big it is, and you're like, are you sure it's a race car? But it believes in its heart that it's a race car, so and that's the main thing, right? I mean, if it's a Lambo, that it needs to believe in itself. And definitely, oh wow, this thing definitely has more of a rear bias in the all-wheel drive system than the ZeroUno does. God! Like, it'll definitely keep a slide going for longer. Like, look at that. A lot smoother, too. Like, it will genuinely keep a slide going for a long time. But the ZeroUno ran 180 miles an hour. Let's see what the Aventador SV runs in 3, 2, 1, power. Very clean getaway off the line. Screaming that V12 all the way up to 8,500 RPM before shifting. There's 150, 160, Whoa, and thread the needle. Come on. And 189 miles an hour through the trap. So almost 190. So 9 miles an hour faster than the ZeroUno. So now we got to go back to the house and modify the ZeroUno up to the PI of this car and see if we can get that same speed out of it, which I'm fairly confident that we can. So jumping back to the house now, I think the best thing for us to do is going to be to probably, I mean, obviously focus on power, but also focus on as much weight reduction as we can. I think we can obviously do this while staying stock engine, so I'm gonna focus on the stock engine. I'm not gonna do some sort of crazy engine swap because I feel like that kind of goes away from the idea that I'm trying to stick with here of preserving the spirit of the car that we're actually tuning. So now we got to go back and grab our Italdesign ZeroUno real quick. We'll go ahead and get that thing in our hands, and then we'll take it out to the shop. Now, I'm thinking about supercharging it, and normally I don't do this to cars on stock versus tune because I'm trying to go for as much power as I can, but since we really only need to gain 9 miles an hour, I'm going to throw a centrifugal supercharger on the car because I feel like that might just give it the little bit of extra bump that it needs. Now, I am going to go ahead and install that setup because I need to go back and check and see how much PI I'm allowed to actually use, because I know that the Aventador SV is an S2, I believe, but I need to see exactly where it is in S2 range. So let's see. Aventador SV S2 906. So we really have very little PI to work with, like very, very little. So back to the shop we go, and 906 is our range of what we have to work with. So cams will jump us to 909, so we can't do that. A race supercharger jumps us to 907. Sports supercharger jumps us to 904, and then an exhaust, that's 907. There's not much we're going to be able to do, I guarantee it. Like, there's going to be that's 906. Wow, literally, like, said and done. Two things. A sport supercharger and a race intake. That gets us up to 698 horsepower and 455 foot-pounds of torque. So really not all that much that we can do. Now, I want to see if they'll let us change the... Oh, they will. Yes. I mean, that's a little far. How about we make it just about fender flush? Yeah, that works for me. There we go. Just makes it look a little bit beefier. And then if we wanted to change our wheels, we would just have to be kind of careful because, you know, we want to keep the PI about the same. We want to keep the PI about the same without changing it too drastically. I think these look really good on the car. I put them on a lot of cars, but that's because they're a wheel that genuinely look good. Didn't change the PI. Again, we're still at 906, and I'm going to see if there's anything else it'll let us do while staying at 906. We could put a race clutch in it, which is a really nice thing to have. That moves us up above 906, so we're not going to mess with it. We could do a couple of different things in here, but weight reduction does a lot. And as a matter of fact, race weight reduction drops us down to 20. Is that really $27.99? Holy crap. If there we go. No, there we go. $27.99. That's really impressive, but, like, we're not going to be able to do it, obviously. And as far as suspension options go, you can actually do a drift suspension, and boy, can you freaking slam it. God, that doesn't change it at all. It just, like, it just genuinely makes it look cooler. I mean, like, I'm actually going to put it on because I love how it looks with that. Oh, my God. I mean, it is tucked like that. Now, let me see if now with that, oh my God, that looks mean. Wow, that looks mean. All right, so now that I put the drift suspension on it, I mean, oh, 907? Are you serious? I'll give it one extra PI. It's really, I mean, it's not going to affect it all that much. I'll give it one extra PI, and plus we didn't add anything that would be related to power that gave it the extra PI. So sometimes the PI fluctuates in weird ways, but without any further ado, let's see if we can make this thing beat that Aventador SV for about the same PI range. So let's see. I don't really hear the supercharger. Let's see if we feel it. I definitely feel the quicker gear changes from the race clutch, though. It definitely feels like it picks up a little bit quicker. I'm actually like, I didn't do any suspension tuning, but, like, the drift suspension, I mean, it doesn't actually seem to be making it all that, like, skittish. I mean, if you rip the e-brake on the way into a corner, then yeah, but... Look at this. With the way this car's all-wheel drive system is set up, it's literally gripping on a drift suspension. Man, I almost wonder if drift suspension would be a better choice on this car just to give it more steering angle in case you need to correct it. That is hilarious. All right, so near 700 horsepower now in the supercharged Italdesign ZeroUno. Let's see what she can do in 3, 2, 1, go. 189 miles an hour to beat. Those shifts are aggressive. There's 150. Come on. 160. Oh, God, we ruined that. We ruined that. Yeah, we ruined that. I'm just going to go all the way back. Not all the way, but, like, as far back as I need to. 170. Oh, 187. Not quite enough. Not quite enough. We were 2 miles an hour behind the Aventador SV still, which is not the outcome I expected to have. However, it's an outcome that I think actually kind of shows the fact that, you know, even if you're at the same PI, you could be really close, but not quite the same power. So, if you guys enjoyed this video, then make sure to leave it a like. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe for more. And I will see you guys in the next one. Talk to y'all later. And make sure you leave your suggestions down below for future episodes of Stock vs. Tune.